Good morning. You're listening to AVNewsCast.com on News Talk 1380. Somebody ran off of my chair.
Good morning, you guys.
Morning.
There was a Suzette Martinez sighting.
Right.
So she will be on the show in a little bit.
I'm still not hearing anything out of that mic.
No?
No.
I do hear it.
Well, I hear you're picked up on other mics, I think.
Sorry.
I'm hearing you fine. I don't know where I'm hearing you from.
Right.
Oh, I don't know. Yesterday I'm driving home.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I turn on the radio. And I put on, just to punish myself, I put on KFI.
Oh,
Okay.
KFI?
I put on KFI, and I'm listening to John and Ken.
Ugh.
And they're saying they have some breaking news. Okay?
What broke in their news?
No, they say they have some breaking news to talk about regarding the pillowcase rapist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
Breaking news.
Break.
And their breaking news at 5:30 last night was that we just discovered that the judge in Santa Clara is retiring.
Stop.
Was that good?
That was breaking news for them?
Yeah.
That was breaking news because they
Well,
get
that's
their
old news
information
for us.
from listening to our stream.
Well, their breaking
Apparent.
news was also that the information about the criminal history of the owner of the home.
Wow.
Yeah. Another thing we discussed yesterday morning.
Yeah.
and
I'm
actually-
glad we can be show prep for them. I like
Yeah.
to make people's
Yeah,
life
yeah.
easier.
And I can speak to that. In 1998, an Antelope Valley truck driver was arrested on suspicion of hiring a tenant that lived on his property to kill his estranged wife and her boyfriend because he did not want to lose the property to her in a divorce settlement.
Crazy.
Exactly
Okay.
what I said.
Yeah.
The truck driver's name is, this is from a news story, Martin John Haggett, age 35, in 1998, was arrested. What happened was he tried to hire the tenant. The tenant then felt that his life was in danger.
Uh-oh.
So the tenant got in the car and drove to the sheriff's department and said, hey, I live on this property. The guy that owns the property asked me to kill his wife.
Yeah.
So he was arrested, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just so happens.
Pled no contest.
It just so happens that a certain piece of property at East Avenue R is owned by a Martin John Haggett,
Oh.
where the pillowcase rapist is due to reside.
Yeah.
You know, this is not
Kindred
a big home.
spirits.
It's only about 750 square feet.
Who cares? It's too big.
I'm just saying.
It's too
Okay.
Yeah.
It's too big and too close.
It's not a home. Now,
That's
yesterday,
6 by 9.
mean
That's
it's
about
not
the
a
right
home?
size.
Yeah. Now, yesterday I
It's
said,
got a
you know,
roof on it and then an address.
it must be. Never underestimate the other person's greed.
Yeah.
It's got to be, money has to be the motivating factor here.
Isn't
Okay.
it a shame? Isn't it a shame that you can own a house after almost killing somebody?
Well, wait a minute.
Oh, I hear something.
You want to say that,
And he clicked
that-
it.
Wait a minute. You want to say that people that were arrested that were felons, they don't have a right to own homes?
I don't know. I kind of want to say that.
I'm not sure about that one. Think that one through for a minute. Okay. So
You know, he's a mess.
now here's
Isn't he?
here's the
Ooh.
thing. We'll just think it through. Just think it through. He bought the property January 9th of this year.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
He bought the property for $47,500.
Come on.
Now, I had heard that the last time Christopher Hubbard was set to be released and reside in Palmdale, at the last house, I had heard that there was a deal there for about $1,800 a month on that piece of property that we went out to. You remember that, Jeff?
I do.
So let's just say that this guy has got a deal close to that. It's all about money. He doesn't care
but
what
it
he
has
brings.
to be. It has to be comparable to the comps in the area. Let's not assume that. That's craziness.
There's not many
700 square foot place
There's-
for
there-
$1,800.
You know what? There's not many places that you can house, a 40-time convicted serial
Yeah, that's
rapist.
a premium
on
property.
purpose.
Yeah.
On purpose. you're not supposed to really house them outside of facilities
Understood. So
with
I mean,
electric fences.
they had to go to the NSA, look at satellite imagery, find a house, okay, in the middle of
That's the
nowhere.
NRO,
And this
Steve.
is the one. Okay, and this was the one. Years ago,
This
there-
is craziness. This is craziness.
years ago, there was another rapist that had been convicted of about 35 rapes.
Right.
And when he was released, they couldn't find a piece of property for him anywhere. So what they did was they got a mobile home and they put it on the grounds.
Of the psych board?
Yes.
Good.
As they should.
There you go.
Okay. And he resided
Within
there
the gated community, right?
until
There
they
you
could
go.
find
Yeah.
until they could find a place for him.
I mean,
Okay.
he's sick. He's
Yeah.
sick. And you know, it's almost, he needs to be quarantined because we don't want to catch anything that he's got.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing, and you know, Senator Steve Knight held a press conference on Saturday,
Yeah.
and we're going to have Mayor Ledford on the show, and maybe Senator Knight tomorrow,
Yeah.
after the 8:30 hour, and we'll be talking.
We
on
need to
this.
stop being picked
Okay.
at. We talked about this before. We talked about the fact that we need to just throw some more parks up.
Yeah.
Pocket parks?
Pocket parks.
Pocket park this area. The whole AV, if that's what you got to do.
I got a nice lush front yard with a big tree. People can have picnics on. Yeah. I'm
Okay,
all
well,
set for that.
well, we'll see what happens. There's another online petition. You can go to change.org. You can
Yeah.
find that online petition. There's a website that's being created right now.
It's a shame that this judge doesn't care.
What's it to
crime.
him?
Because
But
he's
it's
going to
just-
retire.
I mean, but then you think about everything that he ruled over during the course of his career. These poor people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he really doesn't care.
Not
He
at
does
all.
what he wants.
You're not going to tell me what to do.
It's
I'm a
that
judge.
System. It's that system. I know you love it, but it's that system.
Okay, I will tell you though that I looked around the area where the judge lives. Mm-hmm. Oh yes, I know
Did
where
you
he
find a
lives.
place?
Actually, I'm looking for rentals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
To see if I can find something that
We're
would be
not going to
suitable.
find no rentals over there,
Okay.
baby.
Well, there are.
Come on.
They're not cheap.
Rentals over by where he lives?
What do you mean? There's rental. You can rent a house in Bel Air. You can rent a house anywhere in Long Island, in the Hamptons, anywhere. So I'm looking around because we got to do something because we just don't want this guy here. Okay, we absolutely don't want him here. But I like the fact that yesterday we broke the story
Yeah.
that the judge was retiring. We talked about that.
You mean KFI?
What?
I'm just teasing.
No. Okay. But we know that John and Kent, that the folks at KFI follow our
Well,
show.
you know, so's the Valley Press. That's where they get their stories. So why shouldn't KFI be any different?
At times. At times. There is an election happening in Lancaster today.
Yes.
So, and we've got a lot of listeners up there. You've got to get out and vote.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
That's the
gonna.
most
Too
important
bad
thing.
we don't have a list of all the polling places.
There is a list. It was put up on Facebook this morning
Okay,
Oh, really?
good.
Okay, good.
by one of the candidates. Put a list up there. You can also go to, if you don't know where you have to vote, you can go to City Hall. They'll tell you where to go. Okay, and they'll direct you.
They'll
wherever
tell
have
you
to
where
do.
to go.
Don't go to City Hall because he's going to tell you where to go.
Come on.
Not that City
Not good.
Hall.
Okay.
Oops, talking about her friend.
Not good. Marvin Chris is having a get together tonight when the polls close
Yeah.
at Beck's. All those supporting him
Nice.
are invited.
Nice.
So Angelina will be there.
Mhm.
Right?
What are you doing?
What? I'm just having fun with you.
Oh, okay.
Let's need that cricket sound.
Let's you know what? How many
What
people
is
do you
wrong with
think how many people do you think are going to vote today?
I made my prediction last night.
1,800?
Ooh, you're
No.
worse than me.
No.
I said 4,000.
I'm saying close to 10,000.
Listen, we're in the 21st century, and we need to figure out how people can vote on their smartphones. We need to.
Well, California Secretary of State won't allow that right now.
Well, they need to open it up and get his head out of somewhere.
Because
he's
it's
an old
so-
guy. Stop
Is it
living in
so difficult
It
for
is.
people to turn off Jerry Springer
It's your
and get in
civic
the
duty.
car
Jerry
and
Springer's
go
at
vote?
6 o'clock. I mean, at 11 o'clock at night, isn't it?
Is it so difficult?
It
Go
is hard,
go and
Steve,
vote
because
and go
these
do your
people are
jury
working
duty. That's
two
all they
jobs.
ask of you.
People
Not
that are
too much to
single
ask.
parents, in some cases, are working 2 jobs.
I get that.
And if you're not, you're a husband and wife, and you're working 1 job, and you're out the house 12 hours a day, and the last thing you want to do is go by a polling place.
That's what got
So
mail-in
make it
ballots
easy
for.
for these people.
That's
And
what they
a
had the
lot of
mail-in
people-
ballots.
Well then, people don't open the mail. They don't. They don't. I'm just being real about it. I mean, my bills don't come in the mail. I'm like, what's in the mailbox? It's junk.
Okay, a lot of people that are registered voters, unfortunately, leave the Antelope Valley at 5 in the morning,
Right.
and commute down the hill.
And they don't get back until 7:30.
Okay, but the polls are open till 8.
But they're exhausted.
I just got an image of your
I'm just-
letter carrier cursing you out, trying to stuff one more piece of
Yep.
advertisement in that box.
I'll say,
It's-
Jasmine, did you get the mail? I did like last week. Okay, well, probably you should clear it out again.
It's a
Just
responsibility.
roll the trash.
to
It's
get out
on
and
trash
vote.
day. You just roll the can over to the
Yes.
mailbox. And,
Yeah.
If you want to make change, you have to vote.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay? That's it.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will bring on Suzette Martinez, so stand by.
Hello again. This is Bob Alvis of AV Veterans Talk here on News Talk 1380. When you hear this,
Mustang 6 Golf, Foxtrot cleared for takeoff.
that means you're getting ready to fly. And that's just what we do every Friday from 11 a.m. till noon, right between Dennis Miller and Sean Hannity. Each week, we fly right into the subjects that are important to our Valley's veterans and pay tribute to those who have served and sacrificed on behalf of our country. So tune in and join our formation. Check us out on Facebook at AV Veterans or call us at 266-4420. So for now, it's wheels up and blue skies. Bob out.
The preceding was a promotion for a paid program. If you're thinking about getting your backyard in shape for entertaining, there's only one place to shop, and that's Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale. At Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale, you'll save up to 70% off retail every day at our factory warehouse showroom. Abadak has everything you need to get your backyard in shape, like 7.5-foot tall, 41,000 BTU, freestanding LPG patio heaters for just $159.99. How about a fully enclosed backyard gazebo? Fire up that barbecue and enjoy a nice meal inside one of our Mandalay, Trinidad, or Mykonos freestanding gazebos. Just $219.97 every day. If you want wholesale prices, come to Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale. How about backyard shade or car canopies? You can pick a variety of color choices starting at just $129.97. Stop by Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale. We're located at 38940 Trade Center Drive, 1 block east of 10th Street West. The Abadak Factory Showroom is open from 8 to 4 every day. That's Abadak Outdoors at 38940 Trade Center Drive in Palmdale, where you'll save up to 70% off retail every day. Check us out on the web at abadak.com or give us a call at 661-480-1562.
Getting your child home safely
Tap your heels together 3 times.
is just a click away.
There is no place like home.
But making sure your child is in the right seat is just one of the steps down the road to safer travels.
I don't know how it works.
Find the right seat for your little one's age and size. There's no better way to get home safely. Know for sure that your child is in the right seat.
How can I ever thank you enough?
Get all the facts at safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
welcome back to AVNewsCast.com on News Talk 1380.
Hey, Gilbert, can we bring our caller on real quick? And then I'll introduce
Yeah, I think
Suzette.
I hear him.
You're on live on News. Yeah, good morning.
You can hear him through the foil on my head.
Angelina,
Uh-oh.
baby,
How'd I
sweetheart.
know? How'd I know? How'd I know it was going to be me?
Tear her apart.
Because you're making it so easy for the irresponsible part.
No, I wasn't. I'm just trying to be realistic.
are.
I'm trying to
Oh,
say that we have a problem and we need to figure out a way around
Yeah,
it.
we got apathetic voters. They got to go down
I mean,
to
but
the
there's a reason that they're
store to get their
apathetic.
groceries.
I mean, one
We're
of them
not
is like
asking them to go out.
anti-guns and end up being a gun lord.
Notice
I mean,
how she talks over you?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how I
You
win
notice
most
that?
We're talking about
arguments.
guns. We're talking about the right that people have died for to vote. Get off their butts and go out. How hard is it to fill out a piece of paper and stick it in the mail?
With rights come
And
responsibility.
their birthday cards. They send out Christmas cards. They send out Hanukkah cards. They send out a note in the mail. Your argument is invalid.
Okay.
It's very valid because
You know what?
and you can see when you take the numbers of who votes. I'm not saying that it's a good thing. I'm just saying that this is where we are, and it's a problem, and we should think about ways to get around it or to deal with it. Because the reality is that people are busy, they're exhausted, and they don't go out to vote. And the apathy you
They
talk
don't
about.
go out to vote because they don't care.
That's what we need to do. So on
If
election
they
night, we
cared, they
have
would go
Ryan
out to
Seacrest
vote.
announce the numbers,
There you go.
and you text or whatever. Yeah. There
Okay.
you go.
You know what?
you
This is. Hang on a second.
Up
This
to
is a good
50.
time. Let me introduce our guest, Suzette Martinez, running for California State Assembly. She's a Republican. She's been on the show before. Thanks for coming, Suzette.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you for having me.
You know, this is a good time to kind of jump in, okay? Because there is voter apathy, okay? There is, and there's a major disconnect.
Yep.
Okay? We need to fix that. It's
Right.
not an easy thing to fix.
Yep.
People think that the train left the station, and you know what? Whether they have a ticket or not doesn't make any difference. They can't make a difference.
And you know, year after year, you see the decline in an actual voter turnout, whether it's absentee ballots, or actually we're seeing an increase in absentee ballots. And I think that's because life gets busy, especially when you're a parent and you have to get the kids up and get them to school and then get to work and then get home and make dinner. It's a long day. So I would encourage anyone to vote, register to vote online. We are coming of age. We have absentee ballots, but I also think that, unfortunately, people need candidates that inspire them to get out,
There you go.
and that's really the responsibility of the parties and candidates and elected officials.
And they need to stay honorable. They need to
Yes.
not switch up and get arrested because they were running guns, or drugs or whatever it is. I mean, part of that apathy comes with the fact that we're thinking, we believe in you, Baca, or Tanaka, or Baca. It's the same, right?
Yep.
And then
sure,
all of
don't
a sudden...
the Dems up in Texas.
And then all of a sudden we find out, oh my goodness, we were duped.
Yes, I think that, when you are fortunate to have earned the vote and be elected into office, that it is an honorable thing, and we need to uphold that honor in those offices, no matter what office it is, if it's dog catcher to President of the United States. And, being an elected official is not always an easy thing, but you have to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I definitely think we need that energy, that inspiration from our candidates and from our elected officials to do what's good for the people, not themselves and their pocketbooks.
So what motivated you? I want to know what fell on your head that made you say, I have to make a difference and be part of this.
It's actually been, made me decide to run or get involved, because there's
Run.
two different reasons. For the past 2 years, I've been working for a nonprofit, and really being out in the community and seeing that our system is broken and failing students. One of the things I do is I work with parents, and I give them resources on how to be advocates for their children by giving them resources and telling them you have to be involved from homework to school board meetings. You have to be involved in your child's education. And I'm constantly talking with parents and empowering them. And I tell them that the only person that's going to have the best interest of your child is yourself. And I just kind of realized this the past year, that I do my best to help elect good people to office, to do the right thing for what I think is for California, to do the right thing for California. And who's going to do it better than myself, because of my passion and my love for my community and my understanding of what needs to get done. And it's really the past year working with parents that I've said, you know what, I'm not going to sit back and let somebody else represent me when I know I can represent my community best. And that's kind of the real reason why I'm running.
Do you think part of the voter apathy is that there isn't one, or there hasn't been prior, one standout candidate, unless it's presidential, okay, that really captures the hearts and minds of people that they're trying to target? As an example, in the last presidential election, they spent hundreds of millions of dollars, okay, making the connection. We're not talking about that here, okay? Here, in some cases, they had $1,000, okay? And I'm talking about Lancaster City Council election, let's say, okay? They don't have the money to make that connection. That's part of what the problem is.
Yeah, I mean, any candidate knows that money is what really kind of gets you in office. You have to have a combination
And
of
that's
things.
a shame.
It is a shame, but it's a reality of when you're running for an office where you need thousands of votes. You have to pay for that voter contact. You can be out there knocking on doors, and I think that you should be, and I think that does win elections, right? But it's only a small portion of what wins elections. I think that unfortunately we have seen, for the last 40, 50 years, and this is evident if you remember back to the Nixon Kennedy debate. It was a radio debate and a televised debate.
Right.
And it was the factor that Kennedy was more likable, visually likable and relatable for voters that won him that seat. And it's human nature to be able to identify with somebody and for that candidate to be able to speak to your issues, which wins you the vote. But that means understanding your community, being a part of your community, because if you understand what your community needs, then you're going to relate to your voters.
So how are you making the connection with the people? You want to
your
get elected,
community,
okay? You want to get elected. You're Republican. You definitely want to steal the seat back from the Democrats. How do you make that connection?
Yeah, I talk about what's important to my community, which is education. Every single parent that I talk to during my day job tells me that they want to make sure that their child has a strong foundation for education throughout their life, and they want to make sure that their kids are going to safe schools. California is no longer. I was talking to my mom a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, interviewing her, and I asked her what she wanted for California, for her grandchildren for California, and she said she wanted California to be safe again for her grandchildren. And we created a climate here that is no longer safe. I mean, the pillowcase rapist, why were we putting him on our streets with our women and our children? It's ridiculous. So what I've been doing is talking to voters. I've been at community events, using wonderful radio platforms such as today, to talk about my message, to talk about what I see out there and what I can do to make it better.
I sit on the oversight committee for the Palmdale School Board, right? And there's 18,000 kids that go there. At a regular school board meeting, monthly meeting, if you get 25 people that show up out of 18,000 children,
But you go back
I'm surprised.
Into you go into what she mentioned before and what I mentioned. People are working really, really hard to keep that roof over their head. So it's really hard to stretch it all out. A lot of parents are very, very concerned about their kids' education, but they also need to keep the reality of the roof over their head and the ability to drive to work.
Where's that Saturday afternoon school board meeting?
Yeah,
Saturday
I mean,
morning,
I
Saturday
did go
afternoon,
to a couple meetings on Saturday,
Well,
and I do appreciate them making that.
I think part of the other reality is we need more jobs here in our community, because almost 50% of our labor force drives more than a half an hour to get to work.
right?
So,
But
Which
the
is a problem.
reality is, and I hear this with candidates all the time. I want to bring jobs to the Antelope Valley. How are you going to do that? You really have no ability to say, you get yourself over here. I mean, you really can't do it. So I just wonder why I keep hearing
I think that you can do that, because
How?
if
How can you do that?
You can do that on multiple levels, whether it's at the city level, working with your city officials to lower taxes, get rid of regulations. You can also emphasize that at the Sacramento level, because whether you're Democrat, Republican, independent, everyone wants more jobs in their community. And if you can pick out regulations that are silly, that really don't need to be there, that'll bring businesses back to communities, it'll happen in Sacramento.
But how long does that take, honestly?
It's not
By the time you're out of office is when you can bring a job here.
Well, you can typically turn a bill around in a year.
Okay.
So if you get rid of a regulation that says you can't use ink, I'm just making something up here, and you get rid of that regulation, well, guess what? You'll have ink the next year, and nothing is a quick fix. Nothing that works is a quick fix. So it's going to take time, but I think it can be done.
You have to make it appealing.
Yep.
And that's not what Sacramento's been doing. They've been driving the business away with all that nonsense regulation.
And at other times, we have a governor that doesn't make the state competitive. And for him to figure out what makes the state competitive, he should get on a plane and go visit Texas and figure out and just hang out with Rick
Texas,
Perry.
I've said it before.
See what they're doing.
I would pay their salary for them to take off for a year and just shadow what they're doing in these other states?
Well, I think that, when Reagan was governor, there was a team that would actually go out across the nation and recruit business.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't we doing that now?
I don't know.
Because we have too much regulation. It's too expensive. Businesses, I was talking to a business owner in Torrance maybe about 6 months ago, and he was saying anyone investing in a California business is crazy. And he's been here and made his money here. He moved from India with $5 in his pocket and is a multimillionaire. And he loves California, but doesn't want to keep his business here because it's too expensive. Mm-hmm. And he gives money to charity. He is part of his community.
Right.
But he's also a smart investor. We're not making it easy for smart investors to stay here.
No, we don't. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. You're listening to the #1 radio show in the Antelope Valley, AV Newscast, and we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Toby. As a former patient of Boulevard Dental, you don't realize how professional they really are until you've been to other dental offices. Having changed jobs, unfortunately I had to change dental offices also, and believe me, they aren't all the same. Dr. Reed Brewster has gone above and beyond. His professionalism has put him at the top of my list. Over the past 10 years or so, I haven't been the ideal patient, but Dr. Brewster's made it to where I'm back on track and looking forward to not hiding my smile anymore. Thank you, Boulevard Dental.
This is Dr. Reed Brewster from Boulevard Dental Group. Please give us a call at 947-7737.
There's a school in Palmdale that's become the talk of the town. It's called the Guidance Charter School, and many parents say it's magical. The Guidance Charter School is WAS certified, scored 783 in academic performance, and has an educational curriculum that exceeds what the state of California recommends. The curriculum is enriched through age-appropriate exposure for information technology, arts, foreign language such as Arabic, and physical education. The Guidance Charter School is now going to have a full CIF sports program with soccer, basketball, track, cheerleading, and more. They're an open enrollment school, publicly funded, and have been in business for 12 years, fully approved by Palmdale School District. The Guidance Charter School has small class sizes such as 20 students in grades K through 3, 25 in 4 through 8, and just 30 students in grades 9 through 12. Call the Guidance Charter School in Palmdale today at 661-272-1701. That's the Guidance Charter School in Palmdale, 661-272-1701. And check out their website at thegcs.org. A better high school choice.
Hey, parents of children with asthma, here's another hit from the Breathe Easies.
Come on and clean up the mold. Whoa. Clean up the mold. Whoa. Mold can trigger asthma in kids young and old. Come on and clean up the mold. Whoa. Clean up the mold in your house. Whoa.
This song may be fun, but childhood asthma is not. Preventing asthma attacks can be as simple as cleaning up the mold and mildew in your house. For more Breathe Easy tips to help stop asthma attacks, go to noattacks.org, brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to AVNewsCast.com on News Talk 1380.
Hey, Suzette, let me ask you a question. I know that you did your research and everything before you threw your hat in the ring and said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do this. And I was watching on March 7th to see who was going to drop out and who was going to go forward, and nobody dropped out. Is in a non-presidential election, like we have coming up here with the June primary, is there a number that a candidate says, if I can raise X amount of dollars, okay, it dramatically increases my chances of getting elected?
Of course.
Okay, what's that number?
Well, I would say that for a primary, you need to raise upwards of $100,000 on the slim end.
Okay.
And that's a grassroots low budget.
That's low budget.
It is. It is. Because you think about how many hundreds of thousands of voters you have to reach out to. And let's just say, our voter turnout is 60,000. Well, in order to be a part of the top 2, you need, however that vote is split, you need to come out on the top. So you need to hit at least 17,000 voters just to win, to be a part of the top 2. So you can't just have one contact with your voter, right? Yeah. And typically, contact for a voter can range anywhere from $3 to $8.
Wow. Right, and that one contact or the contact you need to make with a voter is like advertising and marketing in that you need to make 9 impressions on that person before you can get them to go do and buy into whatever it is. That's a tremendous amount of money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why you see obviously the difference in spending at city council elections versus school board versus presidential, which is ridiculous.
Right.
But yeah, you need a lot of money, and this race is going to be expensive. Not just the primary, the general. Again,
The general is going to be worse.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's more. It's a possibly a multi-million-dollar race, possibly.
Yeah.
At least $1 million race.
Yeah, that's what I would imagine.
It's so crazy to me when I mean, and you make sense. I mean, and I don't doubt it at all, but it's just like, the community has all these different needs, but we can shell out all this money, on every level. We shell out all this money on garbage because part of the campaign is the smear of the other people, right? And the lies that you want to spit out about the other people. And it's all wasteful because you're saying to us as a community that you care about us and you're here to help us and you're here because, all these things. Yeah, I know I'm sounding real apathetic, but I'm just like, it's just shameful because it's a lot of waste when the reality is we should just hear about what it is that's important to you consistently. And stop the attacks.
And that's what you'll be seeing from me. I haven't attacked anyone, so whether or not I've been attacked or it's being planned is a different story.
Yeah.
No.
But I think voters want to know what your ideas are. What are, our elected officials need to be innovative. And they need to be able to think on their feet. They need to be able to analyze what's going on in their community in Sacramento and come up with ideas and real solutions.
And say something new. Because like for me and a lot of people in the community, the justice system is very unjust. So what do you aim, if you agree with that and you said, what do you aim to do about that? What can you do about that?
Yeah, especially with, I understand with Proposition AB 109, or not Proposition, with AB 109, we'll really see more criminals onto our streets.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because we're constitutionally required to bring down the percentage of prison inmates here in California. And there are different solutions of getting there, both short term and long term. And some of my ideas would be investing in preschool, investing in access to early childhood education, which has proven to lower crime rates. Because children.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the police.
I'm talking about our criminal system and people being our justice system, and too many Latinos and African Americans being in prison, and short term. And I'll hit the police right now, but let me just finish my thought here. I think that we can also see some type of preventative measures at the high school and working with at-risk kids. And I think we need to invest in those things because there's a return on investment.
Absolutely.
I don't think that we spend money unwisely in programs that don't have actual outcomes and proven data to back that it's going to work and save voters money. Now, please explain to me why you think our police departments, our sheriff's departments are unjust, because I want to get a better understanding of what your thought is.
For instance, Baca. He's
gone. He's gone. I'm just letting you, in case you didn't know.
I do know he's gone, but not necessarily what he started, but what he promoted is still here, and it's still real, and it's still viable. There's discrimination in just getting pulled over in a car. And the thing that you hear all the time is you fit the description, or there was a crime in the area. I mean, people of color are targeted. Period. Now, I get that, if I was looking through the reason why I see it is because it's the lens that I see my life through. Okay. And what I think is that all people need to be empathetic in the fact that maybe there is another reality. Maybe my bubble that I live in is not the only reality.
Yes.
And if you hear people constantly saying that there's injustice, and you constantly hearing different situations where people were treated incorrectly, then it's time to take a step back and say, hey, we need to evaluate this. And police and prosecutors and defense attorneys and judges, we were just talking about the pillowcase rapists. just because you're in those positions don't mean that you're honorable people that are doing things correctly. And so I think that, yes, we need early childhood development. Yes, we need these high school students to have something to do, because we constantly don't go on the grass. You can't skate on the street. All these, we have a huge list of what they can't do, but we have nothing that they can do. And I understand that, and we do need all those things, but we also need to govern and make sure that we're watching these people that are supposed to be protecting us.
And I agree, and I think that we need to hold our elected officials that are responsible for those departments,
right?
Whether at the state level or at the local level, responsible by voting people who are going to be watchdogs,
right?
Who want the right thing done for our community, and for children, and
right.
for even people who get in trouble. Sometimes they have rights.
Yeah, I mean they do.
Okay, Suzette.
So get out and vote.
Yeah.
Okay. I know you want to get your message out to the voters, and you want people obviously to vote for you. Okay. And I know it's not easy. There's so many different forms of media to try to reach voters, and I mean it's very difficult. Okay. I can't even watch the Dodgers anymore because of stupid DirecTV. Okay. Anyway. What message do you want to get out? As an example, okay? If you elect me, I'm going to...
If you elect me, you'll be electing new energy. You'll be electing someone who's going to bring new jobs to our district. And you'll be electing someone who's going to bring new opportunity to yourself and your family.
Okay. Bringing new jobs to the district. Part of that will require...
Secret reform.
Yeah. Part of that will also require... bringing Palmdale and Lancaster together to work as a team, okay? Because a lot of this is going to be and take a team effort to start to attract major business to the Antelope Valley, okay?
And let's not forget about some of our surrounding communities, too, that are in need of businesses in Mojave and California City and Phelan and Wrightwood and Santa Clara Valley.
Right. I don't even think they have a supermarket in Cal City.
No, we don't. I was at the Walmart a couple of weeks ago, and one of the voters was in from on 47th, and one of the voters was in. Somebody was in from California City. He's like, please, we need a Walmart. We need a market. We need something.
Right.
Yeah, I ran into some kids at Anna's Linens, and they were
Wow.
Yeah.
Because they were in the neighborhood. They were my kids' age, and I asked if they went to Armagosa. No, we're from Cal City, and we have to come out here and get our groceries and work.
That's craziness.
Well, because it is. We need jobs, and every person that's running for office says, I want to bring jobs. Okay, and I get that. And,
well, then we all have that priority straight.
And, yes. And part of it is, it's interesting because there's a lot of lazy people out there that they don't want to get a job. They want to stay collecting whatever benefits.
Gilbert's a mess.
Okay.
Power to the people. Gilbert.
Lazy. They want to continue, receiving whatever they're receiving, and they don't care about getting a job, and it doesn't make any difference. There are a lot of people that do want a job. The Antelope Valley, and the AV, yes, it's Mojave and Cal City and all of that, but the two main cities up here are Palmdale and Lancaster. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make any difference whether big business ends up in Palmdale or Lancaster. It's going to benefit all the residents, okay, in the 36th district, okay? Yes. It's going to. That's what we need to do. We need to bring business up here.
We do. But I think...
focus on that instead of focusing on we need to ban plastic bags. Or guess what? No more Shamu, okay? This is just dumb stuff. And they're actually bringing this to a vote today in the assembly, okay? No more whale at SeaWorld, okay?
That's crazy.
To me, I think it is nuts.
It is nuts because families are starving. In the 36th Assembly District, we have a 19.5 poverty rate. One of us here is living in poverty.
Woo!
Who is it?
Well, I wouldn't if I spent my money right.
And Sacramento, California is the worst in a lot of things. And our priorities are getting rid of Shamu.
Yeah.
It's
that in the bathrooms in the schools.
And bathrooms and plastic bags and Lord knows what else.
And all kinds of studies on e-cigs.
The writing on in terms of legislation. I think that whether when I go to Sacramento, I'm not going to only be an inspiration that fights for my community, but I think that I can work across the aisle. I think that I can work with people to bring good ideas to bring jobs back to California. And that's what you're going to see from me.
One listener just sent me a text. He said, you know what? If you want major business in California, you need major tax breaks. Okay? That's all there is to it. Because it's so much less expensive to operate in Texas, or so much cheaper to operate in Arizona.
I agree. I think there needs to be a combination of tax breaks and deregulation, responsible deregulation, because California, the regulations that we have on the books here are insanely complex. And why would I, even for a tax break, have to change the entire way I do business if I'm in another state to come to California? So we need a combination of tax breaks. And you're seeing that the legislature kind of is getting a tiny bit. They understand that we're regulated too high. And recently, Matt DeBobbinet put out some legislation that's going to give Hollywood a tax incentive. Well, why is government picking winners and losers? We should be giving tax breaks across the boards to all business, not just Hollywood.
And why did it take them so long to step up to the plate to try to be competitive with New York, as an example, okay, that had a war chest of $400 million a year that they would give to production companies?
Yeah.
Okay.
And because they were tired of seeing it Georgia Peach.
I know
it's
I
true.
am.
Yeah.
Right. But it took them so long, okay, which is unreal.
Well, I think that part of the reason you're seeing that is because, specifically for Matt DeBobbinet in his community, entertainment is the lifeblood of that community. And more representatives are feeling that pressure that they're not making the right decisions for their constituents, and they're either not getting elected or they're getting elected by a slim hair. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that race, but Matt DeBobbinet ran against a Republican, Susan Shelley, in a very blue district, and only won by like 300 votes.
Wow.
So it was a very close race, and that's because voters, people in that community, are fed up of not having jobs, of their taxes, because they also live in the city of Los Angeles, where you're taxed up the wazoo as well. So I think that some members, the more moderate members, are getting it. They're understanding, hey, we got to do something. But there's a big fight with them and the more liberal representatives in Sacramento and unions and special interest control.
Yeah.
Well, I think our election here in the 36th district is going to be a very close election.
Yes.
I don't think there's any question of that. Last time in 2012, I think there were a lot of people that crossed party lines to cast their vote at that time.
Right.
I think it's going to be different this time. I don't think there's any question about that. And again, and I'll tell you, and one thing that I never got, and I still don't understand, is Republican want the seat back. I get that.
Yeah.
I understand. They want it back. But we've got 3 Republicans, okay, running in the primary, and two Democrats. Why not put 1 and 1 and battle it out?
I told them they should all back me, but they just didn't want
And
to.
they didn't
want to.
do that.
That was
The
good.
nerve.
Yeah, J.D. Kennedy said the same thing. So did Tom Lackey.
You know what? I believe in our republic and our democracy. And I believe that the best candidate should move forward. And this fight through the primary or through the general is not going to be easy. And you need somebody who has the energy to get through it and the vision to get through it and take that vision to Sacramento. And by having 3 Republicans, we're going to ensure that we get the best Republican to face Steve Fox come November.
So you've already decided on the Democratic side it's going to be Steve Fox.
Well,
Well, duh.
That's the incumbent.
yeah.
You know?
What's the other guys? I'm just kidding.
Okay. Have you been holding like town hall meetings? Have you been holding get-togethers throughout the district, trying to get people stimulated to listen to your message?
We've been hosting coffees with some of our supporters, and actually our headquarters is going to be opening on Saturday. And it's actually right down the street on 6th Street, and the actual address is slipping. But we're going to be hosting meet and greets every Thursday now.
Right down this street, right down here?
On 6th Street, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Before you get to R?
Yep.
Right on the corner there?
Nope, right in the middle. Do you know where the auto body shop
Yeah.
is at? So
I do.
So we have the left side of the auto body office. It's actually multiple offices in that building.
Back in the early 80s, they had the best used bookstore down there.
So, we're opening Saturday. I'm plugging this. I'm totally plugging this.
Please do.
You can find it. Find the address on my website. It'll be up today, SuzetteMartinez.com. But we're going to be hosting an open house this Saturday, and every Thursday we'll have meet and greet. So if you have questions for me, if you have suggestions, please stop in on Thursday, and we'll be phone banking on Tuesdays. So if anyone's interested, please check out the website, and we'll get you some more information.
Being the only woman in the race, is that a major benefit?
Of course. I think that, women think differently, and we speak to each other, and I think that we need more women in office. And I think that our community knows that and understands that. And it just, I relate to 50% of the population, and there's 4 other gentlemen that are relating to 50% of the population. So right away, my group is less crowded.
Yeah, I wondered about that. Okay, especially husband and wife, couple household. Does Suzette speak to the woman?
I think so, and I think that my key core issues are education and jobs. I know that's everyone's, but my passion is education. I think that all women want that for their children. They want a strong education foundation. I truly believe that all women believe that education is the road to upward mobility and will lead their children on a road to success and jobs. And I think that really resonates with women in particular, because we're typically the caregiver, the nurturer, the foundation for our children.
This is the last time that any candidate running for state assembly or Congress or whatever, this is the last time that anybody can be on the show because we hit this FCC window.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll stay in contact with you.
Of course.
Okay. Up to the primary, and follow you all the way through. But we can't bring on any other candidates. That being said,
that's crazy too.
Okay. I know. That being said, though, what message do you want to send out to the voters right now before we go to break?
The stakes are high. California is in need of jobs. We're in need of a new education system that delivers for our children. And we're not on a road to sustainability until we have representatives in Sacramento that vote for the best interest of our community. And I'm the person that's going to bring about growth and opportunity in Sacramento. And I can work with all types of people and represent all types of people. And I am a person who believes in good solutions and good ideas, no matter where they come from.
Nice job. Nice job, Suzette.
Thank you.
No, really good. Okay, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. And
yes, thank you so much.
I saw you Saturday at the Palmdale Sheriff's Station. Senator Steve Knight was holding a very quick impromptu press conference that he decided on the day before.
Yes.
Palmdale's Mayor Pro Tem, Tom Lackey, who's also a candidate for the Assembly District, was there.
Yes.
And Suzette was there. I was surprised that other people weren't there. More people weren't there. But it was.
But you'll never mention anybody.
Well, those are the only 2 running for state assembly.
Yeah. And Tom and I spoke. I was at the Miss Palmdale, Miss Little Tiny Palmdale. So we were both there this past Sunday, and this issue, this pillowcase raper, it crosses party lines. It crosses race lines. It crosses everything. So, however we need to move forward, I will work with Tom, I will work with Steve, I will work with anyone and everyone to make sure that this person is not a part of our community or anyone's community.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, this is a good time to say, if you are wondering out there what you can do to stop this, please visit Mike Antonovich's website. You'll see that there's an update on what's going on. But we need to write letters and make phone calls to Jackie Lacey's office, and we need to do this in the tens of thousands to speak up for our community to stop this from happening. But we all have to do it. Every single one of you out there has to make a phone call, has to send an email, has to send a letter, because this is our community and we need to fight for it.
Yep.
Amen. The last time in the fall, in October, that they were going to release the pillowcase rapist, Christopher Hubert, there was an uproar, a rage in the community. Jackie Lacey, on written motion, went to the court, to try to stop, and she was unsuccessful. And the only way it got stopped was because the community got together and put so much pressure on the landlord of the property that they said, "Oh, we can't deal with this.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to stop."
Well, any means that we need to do as a community to stop this person from having access to women and children is what we have to do.
Yeah,
he
I
needs
agree.
to be behind bars.
I agree,
Forever.
absolutely. Or not around here. Thanks again, Suzette, for joining us. And best of luck on your campaign.
Thank you.
All right, you're listening to AV Newscast. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back in 2 minutes.
I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
It was a moment.
It was a moment that changed my life.
We looked down from the chopper and saw the whole area was flooded.
At that moment, it really hit me. This is why I joined the Guard.
People had gone up to the rooftops to escape the rising waters.
Talk about intense moments. We had to lower the guys on line some 30 feet down.
This is where teamwork and training really paid off.
It took steady nerves and steady hands for the chopper pilots to hover like that.
No question, Guard pilots are the best in the world.
I couldn't believe it. I just saved a life.
What could be better than serving the people of my hometown?
In the National Guard, you serve your community as well as your country while you work or attend college. In return, you gain skills in which you can build a career and receive benefits that can help you pay for college. Learn more about what it means to be a citizen soldier at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the California National Guard. Aired by the California Broadcasters Association and this station.
If you're thinking about getting your backyard in shape for entertaining, there's only one place to shop, and that's Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale. At Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale, you'll save up to 70% off retail every day at our factory warehouse showroom. Abadak has everything you need to get your backyard in shape, like 7.5-foot tall, 41,000 BTU, freestanding LPG patio heaters for just $159.99. How about a fully enclosed backyard gazebo? Fire up that barbecue and enjoy a nice meal inside one of our Mandalay, Trinidad, or Mykonos freestanding gazebos. Just $219.97 every day. If you want wholesale prices, come to Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale. How about backyard shade or car canopies? You can pick a variety of color choices starting at just $129.97. Stop by Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale. We're located at 38940 Trade Center Drive, 1 block east of 10th Street West. The Abadak Factory Showroom is open from 8 to 4 every day. That's Abadak Outdoors at 38940 Trade Center Drive in Palmdale, where you'll save up to 70% off retail every day. Check us out on the web at abadak.com or give us a call at 661-480-1562.
Welcome back to AVNewsCast.com on News Talk 1380.
You know, so I mentioned just a minute ago, but this morning, the State Assembly is holding their first committee hearing on AB 2140, okay, which was scripted by Richard Bloom, a Democrat from Santa Monica. And what this bill does is it pits the animal welfare activists against tourism in San Diego. What they want to do is they want to end killer whale shows. And they say, you know what? This isn't good for animals. It's not good for what you're doing. We know it's going to cost you millions of dollars, but we feel this is what we want to do. No more orca whale.
Yeah.
I think it's nuts.
It is.
And I think it's
well,
nuts.
I mean,
somebody...
it isn't cool that they keep eating the trainers either. I mean, they need to figure out how to deal with them from afar. You know, I mean, it is a big issue.
They're not called a killer whale
for nothing, right? Yeah. They need to stop swimming with them and thinking they could get on their nose and they're not gonna, snatch their hair. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
A little girl, a 10-year-old girl by the name of Kira Kotler. She goes to school in Malibu. Her school was going to take a field trip to Marineland. She successfully stopped that trip. And then she did an online petition and delivered yesterday 1.2 million signatures against that.
You said she lives in Malibu, right?
Yeah, I understand. I know. We'll talk more about this. We're out of time. Have a great day. Make sure you get out and vote. Pick a candidate that's been talking to you. Get out and vote in the city of Lancaster. We'll be back tomorrow.